What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drewbie Wilson, with more than 2 decades in sales. I've seen it, heard it, been through some of it, and now I'm bringing it back to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community, because let's be honest, sales is the greatest job on earth. It literally gives us a chance to live any life that we want to live, to come from any background, no matter what, and create an opportunity to truly make something of ourselves. And along the way, you learn a lot of lessons, you have a lot of fun, you see a lot of things, just like the boys at Farmers say, I know some things because I've seen some things, and that's what this show is all about, bringing those stories, bringing the fun, and really helping you on your journey to being the best sales professional you can be. Today's guest is someone I'm super duper excited to have on personally. He's become a friend over the last few years. He's also an absolute powerhouse when it comes to digital marketing and all things growing your brand. He's my friend, the owner, co-owner, I should say, of Ascenditt Marketing, Mr. Mason Dorner. How are you, brother?
Doing great, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. Thank you for being here with us. I know you're moving and grooving, taking care of business, so super excited you could carve some time out of your day to be here. I want to jump right in, man. Tell me a wild-ass sales story, and I know you got one for us.
Sure. I'm going to tell you the story of probably one of the coolest places I ever got a lead. It did eventually turn into a deal, but you just never know who you're going to meet. You're always networking. It's like Glengarry Glen Ross, right? ABC, always be closing. Like, you just never know. I was on, this is almost a year ago now, but good buddy of mine who's also a business owner that I met through a mastermind invited me on a trip to Vegas. And we're supposed to go see this UFC fight there, right? One of the other guys that's going with us, he ends up having some major hookup for like floor seats. And so we watched the UFC fight. And this other guy that came on the trip, his name's Phil, is also a successful business owner, sold a couple companies, done some big stuff. And so we're talking, we're hanging out. And on the trip, he randomly is like, hey, do you want to go hang out with the Chainsmokers? And I'm like the DJ group? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. How's that going to work? He's like, oh, well, my daughter's really good friends with them. And she found out that we were here. So she's going to like fly here with them and we'll get to hang out with them and like go to their concert and stuff. So I'm like, all right, this sounds awesome. So we go to the UFC fight, go back to the hotel. We're like getting escorted up to, their penthouse on the top floor of the Wynn. So I meet my now new friend's daughter. She takes us back. We're hanging out with the Chainsmokers. And people don't know that those guys are actually one of the most, if not the most successful tech hedge fund founders from outside of tech. And like nobody took them seriously at all back in the day. They're like, who are these rock stars wanting to do tech stuff? And so we're in their penthouse before their concert. And I'm meeting like multiple CEOs from their companies. There's guys there from Sequoia because Sequoia has put it on their fund. And you would think it's just like a bunch of rock stars partying, but it was actually a bunch of business owners, really high-end business owners that were all hanging out in this room. So we go to the concert with my buddy and his daughter. We're like behind the stage. We get to go in the DJ booth. Super cool experience. But anyway, I end up staying in touch with this guy that I met on the trip, Phil, whose daughter is from the Chainsmokers or whatever. And we've been interacting on LinkedIn for a little while, close to a year. And his daughter is also a very successful model. She's been on like the cover of Harvest Bazaar. She's got a couple of her own companies. And so full circle, as of this month, it's looking like us and his daughter are going to be working together. We're going to be doing the paid ads and the email marketing for her swimwear line. And so that's like this deal came out of a Chainsmokers concert, and it took a year of, kind of nurturing and just putting out content. You never know who's watching either. I didn't know that her or Phil were really paying a ton of attention, her dad, to what I was doing. But over the course of a year of them kind of watching from afar, it was kind of like, okay, this guy kind of has his stuff together and maybe him and his partner can help us. Let's call him, to do business with him. And it came out of partying backstage at a Chainsmokers concert.
First of all, Mason, that's friggin' awesome. Second, there's some things I want to unpack there because there's some nuances to that story that I hope that we can elaborate on and they won't go unmissed. Because First, when you get in the right room with the right people and have the right conversations, the right things happen. Like we've heard that phrase, I don't know, you and I have heard that probably 100 times in our lives now. And it's true. It's so true. You had an opportunity, took the opportunity, went and got lucky, let's just call it luck, but luck and preparation, that's kind of one of those things. I forget what the phrase, like, luck occurs when hard work meets preparation. I don't know. We're going crazy on this one, guys. Just bear with me here. But you were in the room, you're having the conversations, and then it's, hey, would you also like to join me at XYZ? And when someone asks you, hey, would you like to join me for a Chainsmokers thing? Like, I've met a lot of people who kind of like fanboy or fangirl and get weird about like, oh yeah, I'm going to get in there and try to sell these people. Like, I'm going to get the Chainsmokers to hire me to do their digital marketing or whatever. And it happens in so many situations, but like, I want to stop on that point right there and express the importance of when you're presented with these opportunities, it's very important to treat them as such, because what you just said after that was, hey, the guys from the band, they're very, very successful tech hedge fund investors. And that means you know a little bit about the band and you knew something far beyond just they're like super famous, which means that you're thinking at a higher level, which another conversation to get into. But getting in the room and being willing to sit back and be cool and meet those people, that's a skill set in itself. So I want to ask you, like, have you ever been in other situations around famous people like that before? Or was that kind of one of those situations where you're like, man, what do I do here? How do I handle myself?
No, I have been actually. And yeah, the rule of thumb is just, you got to act like you've been there. And I'll give a lot of credit to my wife. I've worked with a lot of really badass business owners. I've worked with some billionaires, some like Silicon Valley royalty that I can't say their name on here. But my wife has worked with even higher level people on a more consistent basis. So like she has worked with like the CFO of Walmart, CFO at Disney, people that sold software companies for $500 million, the largest donor to Florida State University. Like, it's because she was an interior designer for like the wealthiest of the wealthy. So she was in these people's homes, around them all the time. We would get invited to their houses or to do the final walkthrough. I'd get to tag along. We became friends with a lot of these people too. They're awesome folks. And so we got these opportunities to spend time around people of that caliber on a pretty consistent basis. And so that was something that her and her mom, they ran the business together, kind of helped me learn. Not that I was like nerding out over these people to begin with, but that was their whole world that they did business in. And so I got a lot of opportunity to be around these high level people and practice just how to be cool, how to carry conversation, what to ask about, what not to ask about. And so for me, I'd had years of kind of practice. Again, a lot of these folks aren't household names, but they're up there. Some of them are household names. There's like, again, not gonna say names, some game show hosts and stuff like that that you see on TV every day that were their clients and stuff like that. But yeah, I've had the practice through my wife and her network of clients and whatnot. And we've worked with some very high caliber people too, and gotten to spend time around. We've done a bunch of campaigns with different influencers, different athletes. You're not going to say names. If you want to know who they are, you can go on my website. There's a list of them there. So yeah, we've gotten a lot of exposure to these type of people, and you got to act like you've been there. You got to act like you're on their level. Like if you nerd out, they're going to take a picture with you. They're going to shake your hand. They'll be cool, but they ain't never going to take you seriously after that.
And that's why I wanted to ask that question. You absolutely nailed exactly what I was hoping you would do. That's why you're a professional, Mason. But I've had also the pleasure of getting around some what you would consider, more well-known individuals, some people that have that fame, that following, and it's so important that you treat it respectfully. In my opinion, they're just people. And so they just want to be treated like people most of the time. Some of them have a bit of an ego, whatever. But like most of them, especially the super successful, they're just people and they want to be treated like that. But I really appreciate how you mentioned that it is important to kind of be able to carry conversation, to just be, caring. And to me, it's just like sales. If you're going to hop on a sales call with someone you don't know, what are you going to do? You're going to ask questions. You're going to get to know them. You're going to try to build rapport and be genuine, the same way that you would or should in these situations of meeting high caliber people. So thank you for sharing that. Second part of that I want to unpack there, the long-term follow-up. I love long-term follow-up. Like that's my jam. That's one of the things that I absolutely nerd out on, is the building of relationships over a period of time, because within sales, on average, most industries on my judgment have about a 3 to 6 month buying window or a sales timeline. Do you think that's a pretty fair estimate?
Yeah, I think so. It varies depending on the type of lead and the type of business, obviously. We have leads that come in that are referrals and they close inside of 30 days. And then there's people that I meet one time and it's not the right time and I'm not selling anything to them. It's just a relationship. But then a year down the road when they need our service, our marketing services, they call us. So yeah, it varies a lot, and it is important to maintain relationships and kind of work your system, work your steps for a long time. And at least for me, because again, I'm not a sales guy by trade. I'm a marketer by trade that has learned sales because I understand the importance of it. My business partner is a salesperson by trade, so we got marketing and sales in the same company, and that's how we used to balance each other out. He's become a badass marketer. I've become a pretty badass salesperson in my own right, learning from him. Yeah, it's important to keep that long term and keep that consistency. Which for me, these relationships I'm talking about, I didn't go in trying to sell to anybody. Like this was like a guy's trip, but it was all successful, established guys, all business owners. It was a little bit expensive, but I'm like, this is A, it's going to be fun, but B, like this is a high quality group of people to be around, and you just don't know what's going to happen. So I didn't go in with an agenda. It's not like I was calling, hey, can I market your shit? Like it was just consistently posting on social media, commenting back, a few messages back and forth, just relationship building with zero agenda. I had no intention when I went on that trip to do business with anyone on it, but you put yourself in the right rooms, you represent yourself and put your brand out there consistently in a consistent format. People learn to know, like, and trust you. And then when they do need your service, you're top of mind.
I love that. So let's dive into social media, right? That's how you and I actually met, was through social media. We ended up working together through social media. So we can talk to the power of it, obviously between the two of us. For those who are still maybe a little hesitant or nervous on social media, in my opinion, there's two sides of it, right? There's the organic side, which is what you're talking about, where they were following the content that you were putting out and that you were just consistently sharing and making people know that you were someone who was in this field and could be trusted to do the process. And then there's really what you guys are kind of specialists in is also the paid advertising side, which is, hey man, if you put $1 in, can you, it's kind of like some people call it gambling, but to me there's also skilled gambling. That's why people play blackjack, because they feel like they can better the odds for themselves, which I mean, having worked with you, I know you're one of those guys. I won't say that you can count cards necessarily, but you may know a trick or two when it comes to the back end of the game. So how has social media in your journey been part of your business growth, and how do you really use it to grow your brand, both from the organic side and from the paid side? Because I'm sure there's a lot of value they can get from both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't call it gambling. I call it stock trading.
Come on. All right. Now we're talking.
I can't wait. There's more math and science behind it if you're good at it. There's people that suck at stock trading and that trade stocks like they're gambling. I mean, I consider myself to be a hedge fund manager. Like, my clients give me dollars and say, go and get me the maximum amount of dollars back. I'm going to find the best keywords, the best audiences, the best ads, and find those combinations to get you the best ROI. You don't have that when you're gambling, right? It's just kind of like, you have a little bit, with blackjack, but I'd say it's more scientific than that. So I like the stock trading analogy, but gambling's pretty close. But
that's why he's a closer, folks. Bravo. Bravo.
So yeah, because I mean, if I go up to somebody, I'm like, hey, let me gamble with your money. I promise I'm good. I'm closing nothing. If I'm like,
I've seen some of those gurus. They don't last very long.
Yeah, if I'm a stock trader, I'm your investment advisor, and I have a data set that I use to make you more money. That sounds way better. So that's part of the pitch. But so to talk about the importance of social media, so like you said, we're predominantly a paid ads and conversion rate optimization agency. However, we get our business 50-50 from both organic and paid. For us, we do run our own ads. We do run our own funnels. We call and work our own leads. Most agencies don't do that. Like 90% of agencies do not run their own ads and do not use the tactics they use for their clients to get their own customers. But for us, we've cracked that. So we got that predictable revenue model that nobody else really has, or a lot of folks don't have. And for us, the paid side is where that's our consistency. It's predictable revenue. The clients that come in through there are not as big, but we can consistently get them. We know if we spend $4,000 on ads, we're probably going to get 8 or 10 SQLs. 4 of those are going to close. We know it, and that backs into like $1,000 CAC for somebody paying, $2-3 grand a month for email marketing, right? That's our lowest ticket product. And so that's our predictable revenue. And then people upsell, from email into ads and other services. That's the predictable revenue. It's a longer, not necessarily a longer sales cycle, but they start at a low ticket. We work them up. As we build trust with them, we sell them more services. But that's what I would say when things are really humming, that pays our bills. That puts us in a place of like, okay, God forbid we churn a client, which doesn't happen often. We flip the ad funnel on, we get another client plugged in, we're good to go. That's kind of the consistency. Now the organic side, it's less predictable. It takes longer, but the big fish come from the organic side. So like the big companies that we've gotten, the $1 billion tech unicorns, the publicly traded companies, those have all come through organic social, through just my consistent posting, and not from our company, from my personal profile. People like following people. People don't like following companies. So we have social profiles for our companies, but the majority of the leads and the big business that's come in through social has come in through my personal profiles or my brand, my personal brand website, et cetera. And so those have been the big fish. So the paid ads, it's consistent, it's predictable. You don't get as many trophy clients or huge wins out of it, but it pays your bills, it keeps you stable. And then kind of the long-term investing in social media content, in consistently showing up, in consistently networking, that's where we really get our trophy clients or our whales from. So that's how those two kind of play together for us.
Man, thank you for breaking that down so cleanly for everyone, because it is something that, when you're working with new entrepreneurs and small businesses and startups, there's always that, well, where do I invest? What do I get first? Do I go spend money on marketing, or do I, build on my organic team? And there's no right, wrong answer for anyone. Mm-hmm. It's really situational. And as you said, it comes down to a science and just understanding what's worked in the past, what you can kind of roughly guess is going to happen with the results of, what you put in now, and then having a little bit of the special sauce that you and the team over at Ascenditt have that can help you step above what's going to happen and be coming. Because when you know what trends to watch for, again, it's a little more predictable than just being like, well, let's just go throw a bunch of money at the casino and see what happens if we bet on black. So I also love that you said, the paid ad for you guys is more the predictable model, where organic, a little more random. However, those tend to be the bigger, better clients because it's more relationship based. And that to me is what I really want the listener, especially to take away from this episode, is that sales, calling the damn leads, it all comes back to both. You have to do the marketing and you have to have the sales and follow up, because people do business with people, just like Mason said. Yeah, they're going to watch your brand. They're going to check out your reviews. That's all an important part of the recipe. But at the heart of it, that big old chunk of steak, unless you're a vegan, let's just call it a portobello mushroom, whatever you're into, right? I'm not trying to judge. I'm just saying that what's the big meat of the meal is that relationship. And Mason, you do an amazing job of putting out great organic content. You're always helping people. I mean, heck, you get paid top dollar, and you took some time out of your day to be here on this call. So we're super grateful for that. I want to ask you, along the way, you said early on you were a great marketer who learned to be a great sales professional. What would you say, if you had to pick one, is like your sales superpower, or kind of like your secret weapon?
Man, that's a good question. I haven't ever thought about that before, to be honest. I think I would say the superpower is honestly a really strong resume for me. You can't fake the credentials and the accomplishments that I have. Like when I tell somebody I've managed $100 million in paid ads, I've done $1 billion in online sales. I was the head of paid ads for Disney World. I was the head of marketing for the first ever $1 billion tech unicorn to come out of Orlando. You rattle off those 5 things, instant authority. And that makes selling a lot easier, because I'm not the most warm, fuzzy, type person. I've worked on that. And so I've leaned more on like, here's my rap sheet, here's my stats. So then there's instant trust and people are willing to listen. And so it's allowed me to not have to be as warm and fuzzy, which, hey, if you got that skill, my partner has that skill, man. He can make friends with anybody. That's not me. And I also think you got to develop a sales strategy and a pitch that plays to your strengths, and plays to your personality. Trying to force something that's just not you is ultimately going to come off super inauthentic. So I have a really good stat sheet. And then I'm very direct and I'm very honest with people, and I can give them really good in-depth technical answers, like on the fly, because I know it that well. And so that builds trust with people. And also, if it's not a good fit, I'll be very honest with people about challenges. If they're like, how certain are you on this project? Or like, where are the potholes? Like, So there are a lot of agency owners out there that will say yes. They're just yes men. They will do anything to close a deal, even if they know that ultimately this project's probably going to fail. But if I get them for a few months and I get their retainer, I'm still getting paid. So who cares? Or people that will take, the person will be like, oh, I've only got $5,000 to spend. They'll be like, great, pay me 4. We'll spend 1 on ads. It's totally going to work. It's not going to work. You got to get a 5x return just to break even. But people do that all the time. So just honesty. I would rather walk away from a deal or tell someone straight up, hey, and I've done this. This is going to be really hard. We've never worked in this niche before. We've never worked on this type of product. Here's the potholes I see. Now, if you know that and you still want to move forward, we're up for it. If anyone can crack it, it's us. But I want you to know these are the risks I see. And people appreciate that. And I've had people still say yes after that. I've also had some say, okay, yeah, sounds like not a good fit. And they've come back 6 months later with their next project, next company, whatever. And we've still gotten business out of it.
And I can 100% personally attest to that, because when I started running my stuff, I went and I came to you guys and I'm like, all right, here's what I'm doing. And to me, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, hopefully this is all right. And you're like, you're doing pretty good. Yeah, you could hire us, but I mean, it's going to be a marginal return. Whereas I'd rather see you reinvest that into some other pieces right now. We'll give you some guidance and, some opinions, but you were very straight up and honest. And you could have easily been like, oh yeah, we can add 10% to your conversion rate. We can do this. We can do, and you may have. Like, I don't even doubt it. Like, and I'm excited to know that when we choose to work together, those are the sort of like authentic conversations we're going to have, and why I continue to work with you and send clients your way, because there's like so much truth to the fact that it's like, I have worked and seen so many of those marketing companies that'll do that are like, yeah, man, we can take on this niche having no damn clue what they're doing. And they're just going to go and copy somebody's funnel that they found online and basically paste it over with your logo, having no idea how it works or what the actual offer is or anything to go with it other than, I don't know, this one's been running for 6 months in the Facebook ad library. It must be pretty good. Let's just copy it and steal it from them, right? Like, we won't get into that side of it, but I've seen it, you've seen it, and we know there's a lot of those guys that exist, which is why I'm grateful to know that we have a relationship and that I can send clients your way to get an honest opinion. That's one of the things, again, it comes to relationship. You have shown time and time again, not just through your credentials and your stat sheet, but like watching you on social media, seeing how you interact with people, being in the room at, other mastermind events and seeing how you're just like, yeah, man, I'll give you the recipe, bro. I don't have to sell you anything. I'll just give it to you. And then when you're ready, you come hire us to take that off your plate, because it is a lot of work. There is more to it than just throwing up a Facebook ad and being like, cool, $50 a day, let's get paid. It ain't like that.
Yeah, and that also, you've touched on a good point there about, we'll give you the recipe, and then if you want us to do it, cool. If you want to do it yourself, that's great too. That's why our offer is doing audits for free. I audit people's accounts, and I know if you let me audit your account, our audits have an 80% failure rate. So I know if you let me take a look and you let me poke around, there's an 80% chance that whoever's running your stuff for you is going to fail by our standards. So that right there, like, that's an easy argument to make for a switch. And then also you're walking away with a piece of value. Like, I'm giving you a checklist, whether you do our email audit or our ads audit, you're walking away with a 100+ point checklist of the good, bad, and ugly in your account. And if you want to implement that yourself, you are more than welcome to do that. Most business owners, though, are too busy to do that. There's some guys like you, who are ninjas and are just super, already have a background in this stuff, are really smart and can take it and run with it. Most people, though, are like, oh man, I could do this. The instructions are pretty straightforward, but like, I got a business to run. I trust that what you guys said is correct because you've, shown it to me. You guys just go ahead and do it. So, giving stuff away for free and providing value for free usually works out pretty well. And even in the case, where somebody is like, yeah, I'm going to do it myself, you've still built trust and rapport with that person. You don't know who they know, who they're going to send your way, when their project's going to get bigger to where they're like, no, I do want to turn this over now. So there's no downside to giving away the recipe. The people that hoard secrets are really kind of selling themselves short.
Ooh, dropping some game on them today, my friend. Well, here's the deal, Mason. Again, I'm truly grateful to call you a friend, to know that we're working together, and to have you on the show. Normally, these are like 20 minutes long. We're getting close to 30, so I appreciate you taking some extra time out of your day to share the recipe, not just with us today, but with everyone that's going to reach out to you after this to get that audit, because there's so much growth and opportunity to see what's going to come from here. And so what I'd love to find out for sure is if someone is interested in that audit and they're like, hey, I'm building, a business and I want to know, is my campaign working? Is the guy that's charging me $5,000 a month for ads like screwing me over? You will give them a 100% straight shooting answer. What's the best way for them to come and reach out to you so that they can get a hold of you and go through that process?
Yeah, so the best way to get access to either of the audits is to go to masondorner.com. You'll see right in the header, there's a button that says get a free marketing audit. And then we can do 2 different audits. If you want your paid ads audited, that's a section that you can click on. Also, if you want email or SMS marketing audited, that's just for e-commerce. The ads, we do more stuff. We do SaaS, e-com, and home services. The email marketing is just e-commerce. Again, we want to focus on what we're good at. So those are the 2 audits. And again, on masondorner.com, fill out the form. We'll audit your stuff for free. You'll have a whole checklist and a whole report out back within about 2-3 days usually. And then if you want to review it live, we'll sit, either myself, my partner, or our chief email strategist will sit down with you and break down the results for you.
I love it, man. And that's about simplicity, right? Make it easy on your people. They'll come and find you, and then they'll have the option of whether or not they want to do business with you. And again, having gone through that audit personally, seeing the results of just the little things that you gave me the advice and guidance on, didn't even ask me for $1, just said, hey, man, here's what we would do. Go do it. I did it. 10% increase in the first 30 days. So that's my personal vouch. I don't get anything from this. There's no affiliate deal, nothing like that. These guys are just genuine, great human beings who I've had the pleasure of getting to know and work with over the last year. So reach out to them, take advantage of that offer. I cannot say it enough. Mason, after that, I always like to ask, man, sales is a crazy business. People are coming in, they're going out. There's new people coming into this industry every single day because, as I said, it allows you to create an opportunity for yourself no matter what background you come from, to live an amazing life. And you're a great example of this. So if you can give that new individual one piece of advice on how to absolutely crush it in sales, what would it be?
Man, another good one. Again, I'm a marketer, so I don't really think about the sales stuff a whole lot. I've just kind of learned it and picked it up through experience. So you're making me think and kind of. Really,
all right. Well, maybe if you can give them a marketing tip on how to go out and be great on the marketing side, that would be a great piece of value. Either one. You tell me.
I'll go sales because I got plenty of sales experience. I'm real good at it. I just haven't taught it like I've taught marketing. So I don't have the sound bites boiled down and ready to go off the cuff like I do for marketing stuff. But I mean, I would say the biggest thing in sales, actually, this is sales and marketing. Build your audience. Build your audience on social media. I realized, watching guys like, say, Ty Lopez, for example, the dude has sold 30 different products in 30 different niches, and just whatever's hot, he jumps on it and he can sell it because he's built his audience. So build that audience, build your profile up on social media, build your following, and then it doesn't matter what you're selling, people will buy it because they know, like, and trust you. So that's my number one sales and marketing tip.
Damn, that's a good one, dude. I appreciate that, and that's going to make a great sound clip. So thank you. I'll make sure that we find you. And if you got some value out of this today, you're listening in, you enjoyed it, you liked the story, there's something that you learned, share this on social media. Tag us at Call the Damn Leads. What's your tag, Mason?
Sorry?
What's the tag for you on social media? How can they tag you if they share this episode?
At Mason Dorner.
See? At Mason Dorner. Tag us. If you liked it, share the show. At Call the Damn Leads, at Mason Dorner. Let someone know that you got something out of this. Share it with them so they can get something out of it, because that's what this is all about. Creating a community where you can learn, where you can grow, and you can create any life that you want to live if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to call the damn leads, and if you're willing to give with the heart of a servant, just like my man Mason. So Mason, thank you again, brother. I appreciate you being here today.
Likewise. Thanks for having me on, Drewbie.
Absolutely. If you guys enjoyed this, go share the show, subscribe, tune in, leave us a review, all that good stuff. But more importantly, if you have a kick-ass sales story, you've got something that you think is so wild, people aren't going to believe it, go over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast and send me your info. I want to have you on the show. I want to share your story, because every time I get on here, something even crazier comes out, like hanging out with the Chainsmokers. That's a pretty wild story. If you think you can top that, head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Sign up. Let us know. We'll see you on the next one. Go call the damn leads.